Wow, wow. This was really great. I mean, I'm very sad I can't raise a glass with you guys. I hope we'll be able to do that very soon. This was the first time we saw the video, even us here in the studio, and you know, it was very powerful. Thank you for that. I'd like to get Tanya on the screen as well, and all the five awardees. We'll have a panel discussion with them shortly. Just before we start, we opened a Q&A session on Slido again. So if you want to ask any question to any of the awardees, just head to Slido, type your question there, and after we're done with the first round with Tanya, we can get to those questions. So just check Slido, and Tanya, now over to you.
Thank you very much. I feel really honored to work with such a guys like you. It's the biggest evidence of that the values are really working in reality. So let's do the first round of the questions, and hopefully some of the questions will.
This is like, you know, in basketball game, each team member has his strengths, and my role is to connect them, to motivate and focus teams for future visions. And very, very important here is teamwork that we are doing in Baltics. You know, if team is playing with only leaders and stars, without team game, they will not necessarily succeed. And other very important ingredients for leadership, for me, it's I'm trying to always take fear and uncertainty from employees. I always trying to set clear targets and resources. Inside team is very, very important open communication and empathy. Then I would mention that we working in very democracy environment in KNAUF installation, I would say, and we can think open-minded. Also, what big benefit of our team is that we very agile and we always ready for challenges, for changing environments. And of course, you know, good discipline, responsibility, and I think that good leader should be demanding on others, but first of all, he has to be demanding on himself. And of course, at the end of it should be huge enthusiasm and 100% trust to your team. And it creates great synergy across all team members. And what I also want to mention that our customers recognizing KNAUF Insulation as a leading company in our countries, and they prefer to work with us more than with our competitors. Even if we do not have the biggest market share, or if we don't have the biggest sales in our countries, they prefer us more. And this is first of all because of people, then because of unique products and our reliability. So thank you again. I'm really, really surprised and very appreciated.
Thank you very much, Vaidas, and again, congratulations to you. And let's move to Krupka. Peter, your nomination was supported by 55 shop floor operators. You are recognized by your colleagues as an exceptional leader, able to select, develop, and coach plenty of talents in Krupka plant. And this is critical competency in current world, where attracting and keeping talents is actually a matter of survival. How do you approach it? What is your story or secret tip for others?
Good morning, everyone. First place, thank you for the nomination, especially to my team of production operators led by shift leaders, production process engineer, and a special Kateřina Koutná. Tanya, there is very difficult answer to the question you asked me, very difficult. Sometimes I don't know how I will do it and how it is possible. It is probably something between heaven and earth. No. Now quite seriously and honestly. A man must want in himself and it must be within him. It must not be just a sham to look somewhere. Higher it will show over time. And then if he wants, you can set up a training plan through yourself. Experience process engineer and senior operators. Pass on experience, knowledge, and finally give him full confidence that you now will not disappoint you. Rather than quoting the lessons and slogans that are modern and common ground today, I would like to tell you a short story which you may learn a little something from. I started working as an ordinary machine designer. The basic primary concept that my leader instilled in me was now and learn yourself. Subsequently, other basic value were added. Second, whenever you ask, I will help you. Plan your work and meet demanding deadlines. And if you can stand, I will give you full confidence. It is basic knowledge. The second milestone was the transfer to an international company engaged in the production of car windows, where I was allowed to get to know two phases of education that intervened through several amazing people. One phase was humanity, which was presented by the similar function as a process engineer. In the form, whenever I tell you everything you ask. Second, I am always ready to advise you whenever you ask. Second phase was respect present to Belgian supervisor, production manager and director. And you represented 2 points, precision of meeting deadlines, and second, respect for compliance with the prescribed rules. The penultimate milestone was perhaps a reckless but very instructive transfer to a private company, which I managed, and the basic concepts already acquired were extended by. You must combine the above concept with maximum process efficiency to meet the needs of employees and owners. Absolutely. And the last milestone, it is here in Knauf. At first, I was a student again, and I will not forget educators such Peter Russell, Kelvin Snell, and elders from Visa, and especially to my big friend Frank Lopik, who led me from the beginning through this short story, and I try to gradually pass these values on to people who stand for it and want it. Thank you for your time.
This is a wonderful story, Peter, and thank you very much for your honesty on this journey. So let's move to Nova Banja. Marian, you have been nominated by, again, your entire management team members, and all of them mention the word trust. And this is pretty exceptional in our geographic areas, that trust is used more than command and control and is even appreciated. So how did you build the trust in your plant among your people?
Hello, everybody. How did you build trust in your plant among your employees? Was the question. Slowly. Simply slowly, it takes time. That's clear. What's also clear, it's quite difficult to tell you something new about trust, because imagine people have already written millions of articles, maybe billion of articles on the trust. And I perceive myself much more as a being explorer than a mentor, a trainer, or something like that. So in general, I think trust is quite tricky stuff, because we might live without it. Though imagine how is the life without trust, and how this life without trust forms our character, our attitude, our decisions, and vice versa. If we imagine how the life is privately or at work, which is, let's say, fully impregnated with trustful relationships, you clearly see the difference. And also, I think that we are a big region, that there might be certain differences between cultures. I think there is a different stage, magnitude of appreciation of trust and how it's built, and so on and so on. I show you something. Can you see it? Money. $1 US banknote, yeah, it's a $1. I need more. States, "In God we trust." Interesting. Imagine, was only the God as a trustful partner for the founders of US. I mean, father founders, you know, they didn't believe to anybody else. And imagine, on one side God, and on the opposite side we try to make a deal, commitment with the normal, ordinary, common people, not with the God. I mean, at work. And the deal where the subject is absolutely intangible, I mean trust. On one side you, and on the opposite side another human being. So it's really very specific stuff. And my honest opinion is, we must take the decision to support our management and leadership style with the trustful relationships. We must take the decision with full conscience. It doesn't come by itself. Simply, you have to take a decision, your personal decision and commitment. I want to do that in this way, and be aware of all the consequences, because it's something like a holy religion, like an order, like being a Benedictine or a Templar, or I don't know, take it as a pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela Trust. So it's something like that. It's walk to talk in a reality, not in a training. It's a big difference. Hundreds of eyes follow you day by day, hour by hour, second by second. At every moment, your actions, your reactions, statements, decisions go through to the microscope of your team. And in your team, everybody is different. Authenticity is gold worth, believe me. Your weaknesses going public, your mistakes must be acknowledged by yourself. So interesting was, in the past, in my history or career, that people were rather listening to stories of my failures and losses and problems than achievements and wins. Yes, seems logic, but imagine if you go there, you have to have a courage and confidence to show off your flanks, you know, to show you like you are. And next interesting phenomena is from the hierarchical point of view, lower position might have less problem to trust to the boss. But the key is exactly the opposite. Giving trust top down, because you need to give it to your team members, taking all eventual risk, problems, and consequences on your own shoulders, building the culture that mistakes are a natural part of our daily life, and lesson learned must be taken all the time and is really worthful. often I'm doing, when I did the comment, take every file as an investment into your education. So I'm sure that everybody of you knows very well or is aware of the difficulty and time needed to build a trust or trustful relationship. And also everybody of you is fully aware of the huge risk. You might lose everything like this in a second, So also at the end, I have to stress out, imagination that the trust means we are kind, and nice all the time, accepting everything, that's completely naive. People are far away from being perfect. So simply we need sometimes a kick, and push, relax. The real trust can absolutely deal with this. This is not a big problem. The challenge is how you are doing that. How? So, last statement, go for it. If you feel strong enough, if you really want, if it makes sense to you and to your team, be humble and fully aware. It's like many other things. Many have been called out, but just very few were selected. And remember at the very end that everything has its own price. Thank you.
I should say amen. Thank you very much, Marian. And now let's go to the last but not least, Peter Vilina. Peter, your exceptional story of voluntary help to the hospital in the city of Nitra during the Christmas touched all of our hearts, and it was recognized by all of us. This is really true model for Menschlichkeit. But what leads you to spend 2 days helping people, doctors, nurses, at the most critical time when the pandemic situation in Slovakia was the worst ever?
Hello, everybody. Thanks, Tanya. A lot of people asked me why I did it, and that's easy. I decided to help because for me, it was better to do something after some months on home office than to be sitting alone in front of TV at home because of quarantine for the rest of the family. It was not possible to be with them. And I recognize I'm not in a high risk group regarding the COVID, but finally I have got a COVID there, and I was positive after this stage, but I am here. In hospital, I help to local staff with manual work like transport patients to Röntgen or magnetic resonance, change the empty oxygen bottles and transport biologic material to laboratories. For instance, the laboratories were in a next building, and we had only few minutes to bring the blood samples for testing because everything was improvised in hospital in that time. And what I recognized there, it was a completely different world than I was living in the last few months. The doctors and nurses were not discussing about what they don't have, what they should have, what they will have in the next months, about vaccinations and the others, what people were discussing everywhere and every day, and like politicians or media. And they did their job as good as possible with the tools they had in that time, with one goal, and the goal was to save lives. And they did not need the voices in the next election. They did not need to sell more pieces of newspaper next month. And because of that, they had completely different view what to do. They were very pragmatic, and it was very strong experience and big lessons for my next life. And like Radek said at the beginning, we have lack of capacity now. We have a problems with the goods. And for me, it means don't discuss too much about that, what we should have if we have more. We will work to have more. If we have it, we can work with these more goods, but not now. We have to do our best and to have the best results with the tools we have today. And that's very connected what I learned in this hospital. And at the end, for me, the people, they couldn't decide if they go to the work or not during pandemic. Like people in hospital, or for example, people in our production, for instance, are real heroes of that time, because they had no possibility to be on home office to the time when it's safe to travel or produce mineral wool remotely from living room. It's not possible. They risk their health and the health of their family members because they did their job for others and for the team. And I have big respect for all of that people. I could decide, and a lot of people couldn't decide.
Thank you very much. Really huge respect to all of you, but as well to all of your family members. So the award diploma will, and I see that Marian is having already crew on the board. So the award diploma and some present as a surprise is of course coming as well. And now I am giving the word back to studio.